Pizza Hut in Hong Kong is selling a pizza topped with snake meat. Everyone in Hong Kong was like, ew, Pizza Hut?
3 pandas from the Smithsonian National Zoo were returned to China, packed in a special crate on a FedEx plane, or as Southwest calls it, Economy Plus.
The menu from the Titanic is expected to sell at an auction for up to $86,000. $86,000. That's how desperate people are for a menu that's not a QR code.
People magazine announced that it is named actor Patrick Dempsey the sexiest man alive. Huh. You guys know we were only supposed to set our clocks back 1 hour, right?
Children behave. That's what they say when we're together. And watch how you play. They don't understand. And so we're running just as fast as we can.
Tommy James and the Shondells, they are coming to the Genesee Theater in Waukegan tomorrow night. They'll be there at 8 p.m. And we've got tickets to give away later on this morning, a family 4-pack and a pair of tickets to give away. We had a whole bunch to give away yesterday as well. So you can win tickets. Now, they'll be at the will call window in your name, so you don't have to pick them up or anything. You just have to show up and get the tickets. So we'll give those away a little while from now. Hey, good morning. I'm Don Rosen. I want to thank you for joining me here this morning at WRJN. Coming up a little later on, we're going to talk Veterans Day with, and I always hope I say his name right. I've known him for years, but I don't know him by his last name. Frank Konieska. He is the Racine County commander of the Bixby-Hanson American Legion Post 171, and that's located in Union Grove. He'll be joining us at 6:30 this morning to talk about Veterans Day, which is tomorrow. And I asked him, do they celebrate it on Monday, a Monday holiday? He said, no, we celebrate it on Veterans Day, which happens to be Saturday. Coming up at 7 o'clock this morning, we have Melissa Caprillian's going to be here. She is an alderperson for the city of Racine and a county board member at the same time. We'll talk to Melissa. Brett Hoffman will be here at 7:30. We're talking movies. We'll tell you what's opening up this weekend at theaters. And we'll tell you the weekend box office top 5 from the other day as well. And at 7:50 this morning, sports guy, Mike Clemens will be here. It's early for me. Mike Clemens will be here to talk sports, and we're going to find out what happened to Craig Counsell. Why did he leave Milwaukee to go to Chicago? It's just a short drive. It couldn't have been money, because I think the Brewers offered him a boatload of money to stay. So we'll find out. Maybe Mike Clemens has the inside story. We'll find out a little later on this morning. Boy, the mouth ain't working today, is it? It's definitely not working. All right, what do we got for you here this morning? Oh, I had to mention this. It's not a happy topic, but I do want to mention it because he was a dear friend of mine. He was a huge radio personality in Milwaukee in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. He worked most of his career for WEZW at 103.7 FM in Milwaukee. His name was Bill Moose. And he was the guy that brought me from Atlanta to Milwaukee. I was working in Atlanta, and he actually flew down to talk to me to move to Milwaukee. He's a very quiet, unassuming guy. He's not loud, boisterous like me. He's very, very quiet. And I walked into the hotel where I was supposed to meet him, and I didn't see anybody. I saw a guy sitting in a wheelchair. And I said, Bill Moose? And he said, yes, that's me. Very beautiful voice, very nice, gorgeous voice. And I sat down and talked to him. And he convinced me to come to Milwaukee, and that was in 1980. And I worked for WEZW in Milwaukee for 10 years with Bill. And when I finally left, he actually cried when I left. We became very close, good friends. And I got word yesterday from his wife that he had just passed away. And I felt terrible. So it's one of the few posts I ever put on Facebook. And all radio people started immediately sending their condolences. Because even though he only worked at one station and was a very quiet, unassuming guy, people felt close to him because they knew him. And he was such a great person to be around. And we even, I'll tell you something, we flew out to California once, and that's the picture I had on Facebook. Our manager, Bill, and myself flew out to California. This is before the internet, to listen to a radio station out there. And that was the only way we can listen to it. It was a new type of easy listening music. And we flew out to San Diego to go listen to it. And we did for about an hour. Then we went to the radio station to visit the people there for about an hour. And we had all weekend. They said, well, now what are we going to do? I said, let's go to Los Angeles. Now, keep in mind, Bill's in a wheelchair, and it's not easy for him to get around, but we didn't care. We're going to Los Angeles. They wanted to go to a Dodgers baseball game. I said, Dodgers, you can see them anytime. So at the time, the Brewers were in the National League, so you can see the Dodgers anytime. So I decided we're going to take a tour of the Stars' homes. And Bill did not want to do that. So we got a kid on the street who sold us a map for $5. And we visited the Stars' homes. That's where I almost ran over James Stewart. I told that story the other day. He almost stepped in front of my car. So we had a great time. And then I said, let's go to Universal Studios. And Bill said, I don't do theme parks. It's very uncomfortable for me in the wheelchair to do a theme park. I said, let's go to Universal Studios. And we did. And he didn't like the attention. And when you're in a wheelchair, you get a lot of attention from people at amusement parks and theme parks. Because to get you on the tram, they got to take part of it, the railings off to get you in the wheelchair on there, put a little platform on, get the chair, the bench taken out. And then when we got to the thrill show, I think it was Miami Vice thrill show. And that's the picture that's posted there. We had to sit in the first row because he had the wheelchair. So we're sitting in the first row, and when the fireballs come up, you can actually feel the heat. And Bill said, you two, when the fire hits the crowd, you two will die instantly with smiles on your faces. I'll be in a burn unit for the next year. And we just had a great time. And when we got home, with all this griping about going through the Stars' homes and Universal Studios, he actually said to me, I really had a good time. And I said, you know what? I knew you would. Because he doesn't usually do that kind of stuff. He's very quiet and unassuming. He was on a wheelchair bowling league. And one day they invited other people who were not in wheelchairs to bowl. But we had to bowl from wheelchairs. And I got to tell you something, it's not easy because when you bowl, you're used to holding the ball and swinging it back right close to your body. But when you're in a wheelchair, you can't do that because you'll hit the wheels. So you have to swing it out a little bit. And you have to position your chair at an angle. It took me like 3 or 4 frames just to figure out how to get the ball to hit the pins. 10 years with that man. Then we stayed close for several years after that. And I miss him. I couldn't believe it when I got the word from his wife yesterday that he had passed away. And he touched a lot of people in radio. A lot of people remember him. Chris Morrow, who's the vice president of Civic Media, our parent company, worked with Bill. Right after I left the radio station, he came there to work there. And Chris worked with Bill, and he said the same thing. You know, what a great human being to work with. Very quiet, very unassuming, not bossy like a boss would be. Very, very decent human being. And I was very sorry that he passed away yesterday. He spent, when he was 12 years old, he was in the wheelchair. He was 82, so he spent 70 years in a wheelchair and never once complained about it. I complained about it. We went to the Consumer Electronics Show, and we couldn't use the escalator. We couldn't use the freight elevator, so we had to use the escalator. That was a nightmare, and we got yelled at for it by the people at McCormick Place in Chicago. He never complained. I complained about it sometimes. I said, we got to get this wheelchair moving here. What a great human being. Bill Moose. I will miss him. His funeral is a week from tomorrow, and his wife said, can you be there? I said, I wouldn't miss it. Of course I'm going to be there. Of course I will. If you quit watching TV tomorrow, if you said no more television, you'd have time for a second job. At least one that's part-time anyway. A survey found the average American streams 1,112 hours of shows and movies a year. That's over 21 hours a week. In the state of Wyoming, they're the worst. They have enough time left over if they turned off their televisions for a full-time job. Isn't that something? Oh, let's see what else. Oh, Stephen King writing another novel. This time it's a sequel to the 1981 novel Cujo. Remember that vicious dog? It wasn't a Saint Bernard. I forget what it was. I forget what the dog was, but it was vicious. I didn't read the book, but I did see the movie once. So he wrote a sequel to it. It's called Rattlesnakes. It's about Vic Trenton. He was the father of the little boy who dies in the original book. So if you're a Stephen King fan, he's writing again. Kurt Vonnegut, you know, the famous author Kurt Vonnegut, he worked at Sports Illustrated at one time, and he got fired quickly. He was supposed to write an article about a racehorse that escaped. The article he wrote was one sentence. The horse jumped over the expletive fence. That's all he wrote, and he got fired. You know who also wrote for the New York newspaper? Remember Bat Masterson? There was a TV show about him, Bat Masterson. He was in the Wild West for a long time, Dodge City and Tucson, Arizona, and the Wyoming Territory, Bat Masterson. Well, in his later years, he went out east, and he became a writer, a sports writer, for a New York newspaper. I forget the name of the paper. But Bat Masterson used to cover baseball and all the other sports. And it's funny when you see the TV series of a gunslinger, Bat Masterson. Oh, you know who Bat Masterson worked with? Wyatt Earp in Tucson, I guess. Was it Tucson? Around there somewhere? Yeah. So he used to work with Wyatt Earp. And, yeah, hard to believe. If you watch the gunfight at the OK Corral, I believe Bat Masterson was involved in that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he was. Okay, so we have some more stuff coming up for you. It's clear, 38 degrees right now. We're looking for increasing cloudiness today with a high near 44. Maybe some clouds tonight. Lows around 31, but a gorgeous weekend. Veterans Day tomorrow, sunny with a high near 47. Sunday, sunny with a high near 54, and it's going to get warmer as the week progresses, which is kind of neat, huh? This is WRJN 1400 on your AM radio, on FM 99.1 and 98.1. We're all over the place. Tommy James and the Shondells coming to the Genesee Theater in Waukegan. What a great theater. We saw Jerry Seinfeld there a couple of years ago. He goes there, I think every year he performs at the Genesee Theater. I think Jay Leno was there recently. A lot of big acts appear at the Genesee. And Tommy James and the Shondells. Tommy James is a disc jockey now, but he travels around, with the band doing shows. But when he's not, he's a DJ on the radio. Pretty good, too. I heard him. Pretty good. So we're giving away tickets this morning. In a little while, you can win tickets to Tommy James and the Shondells at the Genesee Theater. That's coming up. In a few minutes, we're talking Veterans Day with Racine County Commander for the Bixby-Hanson American Legion Post 171. That's Frank Konieska. Now, the reason I know Frank, and we'll mention this a little later on again, is because every Memorial Day, he's involved in doing ceremonies at several cemeteries, not just one, but several. One is in Union Grove. That is where my father-in-law is buried. He was a U.S. Marine. Not was. The Marines are never was. They always are Marines. So he was a U.S. Marine, and he's buried there. And every year they honor somebody at the cemetery. It's usually the last person who was a veteran who was buried, who passed away. And he said, we can honor him if no one else passes away who's a veteran and buried here in the Union Grove Cemetery. And it turns out that year, no one else passed away who was a veteran. So they honored my father-in-law, Dale Wohlers, U.S. Marine, at the cemetery. It was really touching, too. They did they played taps They did the gun salute, and there was a nice crowd of people there. There's always a crowd of people there on Memorial Day in Union Grove. They also have a parade. During COVID, they cut back on the parade. I don't know if they even do it anymore. It's the shortest parade you'll ever want to see. It's less than 60 seconds. It used to be the Union Grove High School Band and veterans from the American Legion Post. And I think they had the Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts involved in it as well. But it was less than a block long. And it was real fast. We used to go up up on 45 on Main Street, watch the parade, quick get in our cars, go to the cemetery, and watch it all over again. Because we were faster than the parade. But it's always good to see Frank and the veterans there every year doing their salutes on Memorial Day. And, of course, Veterans Day. They have a big cemetery. They have two cemeteries in Union Grove. One is the big cemetery for veterans, and one is the smaller one. I think the one I'm talking about is Union Grove Memorial Cemetery. I have to ask him what the name is. But they go all over. So one year, my wife and I are going to the big cemetery because we wanted to see some people that she knew who were interred there. And we're driving in, and somehow we got into the parade. I don't know how we did it, but we're driving in, and we got between two cars, and we didn't know there was a parade going on. And we're driving through the cemetery, and people are waving at us. All the people are there, and they're waving. I said, we're in the parade. And we rolled down our windows, started waving back. All right, it happens, I guess. Hey, Walmart making a big change this morning. Kudos to Walmart for this. They're going to accommodate customers with autism, PTSD, and other sensory disorders. Starting today, Walmart stores nationwide will have special sensory-friendly hours from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. each day. All TVs will show static images instead of videos. They'll leave the music off and lower the lights. They tested it for back-to-school season and had success with it. Now they said, quote, we hope our customers and associates will find the stores a little easier on the eyes and ears, and kudos to Walmart. That's great. All right. The game shows, the reality shows might be coming to somewhat of an end on television. A tentative deal reached to end the actors' strike after 118 days. No details yet, but the union's national board are voting on it today. It'll be very interesting to see what TV is going to look like again. Now, it's going to take a while because the writers just went back, and they have to write all the scripts. Then the actors have to rehearse it and film it, and they have to get it on the schedule. But if you watch TV lately, it's all reality and game shows. Survivor was stretched out to 90 minutes. Big Brother, which is normally, 60, 70 days in the Big Brother house, turned out to be 100 days. It's usually over by the beginning of September, and now it's November, and we're still watching Big Brother. The finale was last night. Don't tell me who won because I didn't watch it yet. So we'll be getting back to some kind of normalcy with TV, if that's what you want to watch. Now, CBS was able to yank Yellowstone out of their Paramount Plus archives, and they ran Yellowstone, so they had a drama on because nobody was acting, nobody was writing, and those were in the can already, so they were able to show those, and they pulled it off. Okay, so if you like television, it might be coming back. But those game shows, after a while, and those reality shows were getting kind of, wearing on you. But they're going to come back. Hey, did you hear the story? I know if you were up at 6 a.m., we had this story. Pizza Hut is offering a new topping called snake meat. That's right, just what it sounds like. It's a snake cut open, and they chop it up, and they put it right on the pizza. Don't worry. You won't be disappointed because it won't be sold here. Only in Hong Kong. But you got to hurry. Book a flight to Hong Kong because November 22nd is the last time you can get pizza with snake meat. Is anybody going to eat that? I guess it tastes just like chicken, supposedly, huh? Here's a gossip item. We mentioned Yellowstone a few seconds ago. Rumor has it Kevin Costner and Reese Witherspoon are an item. Supposedly, they were talking about working together and realized It was mutual attraction. Now, the age difference is 68 for him, 47 for her. It's not really terrible, 68 and 47, is it? How many years is that? Hold on, let me get a calculator here. Carry the 1 divided by, let's see, you take that 1, you put it up there by the 2. It's 21 years. Maybe it is a lot. It didn't look like that on paper. But it's just a rumor. Just a rumor. But here's something I found fascinating yesterday. A viola player. Her name is Carolyn Buckman. She passed away of cancer back in March, a year after taking part in a very secret recording session. What she didn't know at the time was she recorded her viola for the song Now and Then. That was the Beatles song that was just released the other day. Her mother says she would have been delirious had she known she would be on the final Beatle song. She didn't know it. It was kept a secret. Wow. That's some secret you have to keep. But she didn't know it. But that's some legacy. That was the last recording she made. All right, coming up, we're talking Veterans Day in just a moment. And Melissa Caprillion, who's an alderperson for the city of Racine, also on the county board, she'll be here at 7 o'clock. 7:30, we're talking movies with Brett Hoffman of Marcus Theaters. At 7:50, Mike Clemens is going to tell us why Craig Counsell left. Why did he leave the Brewers to go to the Cubs? We'll find out. That's straight ahead at WRJN. We're looking for increasing cloudiness today with a high near 44. Some clouds tonight, lows around 31. Tomorrow, Veterans Day, sunny with a high near 47. And Sunday, sunny with a high near 54. And it's going to get near 60 next week. Clear skies, or a clear skies, only one sky. Clear sky, 38 degrees now at 6:29 at WRJN Radio. 1400 AM, 99.1. Nope, 99.9 and 98.1 FM. Having a lot of trouble getting through to Frank Konieska, who is the commander of the American Legion Post in Union Grove. I'm going to try one more time here because he answered the phone, then he got disconnected. It took a while to get through. It took about 7 times. So hold on. What? He didn't answer the phone the first 6 times. Hold on a second. One more time. I'm going to try. not talking to Frank. At least not now. He answered the phone once and then he hung up. I don't know. I think I'm getting him too early in the morning. We'll try to connect with him in a few minutes again. The reason you're hearing Tommy James of the Shondells, Tommy James is going to be at the Genesee Theater in Waukegan, Illinois, and that's going to be Saturday night. We've got a family 4-pack of tickets to give away in just a couple of minutes. If you haven't won anything here in the past 30 days, you'll have a chance to win now, in just a few minutes here at WRJN, okay? I feel bad. I wanted to talk to Frank about Veterans Day. He's the guy who knows everything. He participates in every Veterans Memorial Day ceremony in Racine County, and I couldn't get a hold of him. I tried. He answered once, and when I put him onto the air, it just heard a dial tone. He hung up. So we'll try again. We'll see what happens. We don't give up here. Okay. You feel old? What's a specific moment that made you think, wow, I'm an old person? We got a few examples that people wrote here. The first time somebody called you ma'am or sir. The first time you had to keep scrolling down. You know when they ask your birth year online, you have to scroll all the way down and keep going and going and going. How about when you catch yourself getting up and sitting down noises like, oh, yeah, I'm hearing those. When a celebrity pops up in an ad and you have no idea who those people are. You know, I should know because I'm into pop culture somewhat, but I got to tell you, a lot of people pop. There are people that win Grammy Awards. Who are those people? How are they winning a Grammy Award? Who are they? Let's see. When you're worried that you might throw your back out by just coughing or sneezing. How many times have you done that, huh? I know I have. I've sneezed. Oh, that hurt. And, yeah, we're all getting there. I do feel like it. I was about to say I don't feel like it, but yeah, I kind of do. Let's take a look at some news headlines. Stuart J. Waddles in our news center getting us some news this morning. The Kenosha City Council has recommended an agreement with the Menominee Gaming Authority for a casino project. It was a 12-3 vote last night. The agreement will be voted on November 20th after a public hearing and developer presentations. The Menominee Tribe will own the casino, while Hard Rock International will develop and manage it, featuring a 70,000-square-foot casino, 1,500 slots, and 55 gaming tables. Before Christmas festivities, a veterans event takes place in downtown Racine tomorrow. Racine County Veterans Service Officer Sean Rivers says the ceremony will start at 10 o'clock with the 84th annual stew feed to follow. Everyone's welcome. The parade later on in the day tomorrow. The Racine County Sheriff's Office has released pictures of the contraband that a social worker allegedly smuggled into the county jail. The investigation uncovered cell phones, oxycodone pills, rolling papers, and tobacco from 2 inmates. Brittany Perez, the director of mental health services, and a social worker were arrested and charged with 9 counts of delivering illegal articles to inmates. Her initial appearance, originally scheduled for yesterday, is now on the calendar for later this month. The annual Downtown Holiday Parade and Tree Lighting Ceremony is tomorrow. The parade will start on the west side of State Street Bridge and proceed downtown Main Street to 6th Street, ending at City Hall following the parade. The tree lighting ceremony will be held on Monument Square, where Mayor Corey Mason and Santa Claus will illuminate the holiday tree together. This year, it's an artificial tree. I saw it yesterday when they were putting it up. It's a little smaller than the other ones, and it looks a little artificial, but it looks nice. And they hung up all the wreaths on with the lights on the downtown posts yesterday. And when I was going through downtown this morning, they were all lit up. It was very nice. A search is on for the company that will overhaul Echo Lake in Burlington. City officials in Burlington have started the process of looking for an engineering and construction company for the $9 million overhaul of Echo Lake, which includes rebuilding a dam and dredging pollutants. In a November 2022 public referendum, voters in Burlington expressed their preference for the dam at Echo Lake to be rebuilt and the lake to be preserved. Those are the stories we're looking at. Stuart J. Waddles in our news center this morning. And hopefully in a few minutes we will try once again to get Frank in here. Frank Konieska, who is the commander for the American Legion post in Union Grove. And I tried. He even answered the phone once. When I patched him through to get on the air, I heard a dial tone. So I don't know if he heard me saying, hold on, or whatever. He said, I can't believe they're trying to sell me an extended warranty at 6:30 in the morning. Well, we didn't try. So we'll try for that. And coming up at 7 o'clock, Melissa Caprillian's going to be here. And she is going to talk about her role as alderperson in the city of Racine and on the county board. She does both. Busy lady. So we'll talk to Melissa coming up at the top of the hour. 7:30 this morning, we're talking movies with Brett Hoffman. I think we have 3 films opening up this weekend, 3 movies. So we'll talk about that. And he'll give us the weekend box office top 5. I heard that Priscilla movie didn't do well. That's the Sofia Coppola biopic of Priscilla Presley. I heard it didn't do well. We'll talk to Brett. He'll give us the lowdown, how much money it made. And at about 7:50 this morning, we'll find out why Craig Counsell left Milwaukee to go to Chicago, even though they offered him a boatload of money in Chicago. From what I heard, they offered him a boatload of money to stay in Milwaukee. Must have been a reason. So we'll find out. The weather for today, clear right now, 38 degrees. Look for increasing cloudiness, though, with a high near 44 degrees today. Tonight, cloudy, lows around 31. Tomorrow, gorgeous on Veterans Day. Sunny with a high near 47. And Sunday looks sunny with a high near 54. Later on next week, we're going to be near 60 degrees. Oh, looks pretty nice. Sounds good, huh? Okay, just how fast is the food drive-thrus? I think they're pretty fast for what they do. I mean, that's pretty good. The annual drive-thru study found Taco Bell is the fastest. 4 minutes, 39 seconds from the time you pull in to the time you drive off. That's with giving your menu, with reading off the menu, telling them what you want. Chick-fil-A, the slowest drive-thru. Also has the most accurate, though. Slow and accurate. I'd rather have slow and accurate than fast and get the wrong order. The study found the top thing that could make drive-thrus even faster is making sure the person working speakers is talking clearly and distinctly and listens to what the person is saying. When they're easier to understand and we don't have to repeat ourselves, it shaves off a full minute. Yeah, sometimes I'll pull in and they'll say, water. What? What'd you say? They mumble because that's not what they do professionally is speak. So they mumble a little bit. But again, I'd rather have slow and get the right order. That's what I'd rather do. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, in showbiz news, new movie trailer out. Leave the World Behind. Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and Kevin Bacon confront doomsday. Ooh. Lady Gaga actually had to go to court to keep from paying a $500,000 reward to a woman who participated in the theft of her dogs. Luckily, she won. The lady, I guess, squealed on the person who stole the dogs, but the lady was part of the theft, allegedly. And she demanded the $500,000 reward. That's like somebody robbing a bank and turning themselves in for the reward. I don't think it works like that. Oh, what do we have here this morning for you? Charmin. Did you notice toilet paper is going to be cut differently from now on? Never noticed it. Charmin spent 5 years working on a redesign of the toilet paper square so that it's easier to make a neat tear along the perforation line. But to do it, they had to make the line wavy, not straight. It's no longer a square. We even knew that was even an issue at one time. We have Charmin. They look straight to me. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Let's see here. What else do I have for you? It's homecoming season. But if your kid is skipping it or couldn't find a date, don't worry. Most Americans never went to their homecoming dance. Only 44% of adults did. 52% went to prom. I never went to a homecoming dance, but I did go to my senior prom. You know where we held it? At the New York World's Fair. The building is still there. It's a big T. It was the transportation building at the World's Fair. It's a big T, and we held our senior prom there in 1970. Oh, should I tell you? 1972. And it was good. You could feel the building rocking and everything. If you Google it, transportation building 1964 World's Fair, you'll see what the building looked like. And when people were dancing, you can feel the floor moving. It was kind of scary, but we had a good time at that prom, too. That was an interesting place to hold it at the New York World's Fair. Of course, the World's Fair had been closed for several years at that point, but some of the buildings are still there. That's where they hold the U.S. Open, the tennis championship game at the World's Fair. The World's Fair grounds. It's not the World's Fair anymore. I think the Unisphere is there, and some of the buildings are still there. And that's something. They built that thing for millions and millions and millions of dollars, and after 2 years, they tore it down. It was kind of sad because I had a good time. I went there a lot to the World's Fair growing up because my grandmother lived in Kew Gardens, Queens, so it was just a simple little cab ride to get to the fair. But still. Woman in Alabama buys a flower sculpture at Goodwill for $40. It's actually worth thousands. It's by an artist named Frank Fleming. She donated it to the Birmingham Zoo to auction it off. At last we checked, the top bid, $2,000. You never know what you're going to find. I was at a thrift store several months ago, and I went to the counter. Is there anything here that's going to be very valuable in a couple of years? Let me know now so I can buy it. And she said, well, not that I know of, but I still looked. Because you never know what you're going to find at the thrift store. They find paintings sometimes worth millions because people have no idea what they're dealing with. All right. Let's give away some Tommy James tickets right now. Tommy James and the Shondells. They're coming to the Genesee Theater. I have a family 4-pack of tickets right now at 262-634-9756. 262-634-9756. Give us a call. If you haven't won anything in the past 30 days, I'll give you a family 4-pack of tickets to Tommy James and the Shondells tomorrow night at the Genesee Theater.
Look over yonder. What do you see? The sun is rising. Most definitely.
Guess who I found? I found Frank Konieska, who is the Racine County Commander for the American Legion Post, the Bixby-Hanson American Legion Post 171 in Union Grove. Frank, thank you for joining me. I'm glad we got a hold of you.
I'm sorry about that. This new technology, I had to go back to my flip phone.
Yeah, telephone. It's a tough technology, the telephone.
Yeah, don't tell me about it.
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I even said to Frank the other day on the phone, I said, did they celebrate it on Monday? And he said, no, they celebrated on Veterans Day, which is the 11th, and that is tomorrow. You're very busy on Veterans Day and Memorial Day because you're all over the place. Especially, I know you from Memorial Day at the Union Grove Cemetery because you do a salute to a fallen veteran every year on Memorial Day, including you did my father-in-law a couple of years ago. But so what's coming up? What's coming up tomorrow on Veterans Day?
Well, tomorrow's day, it's always celebrated since 1919 on the 11th day of the 11th month at 11 a.m. And it's to honor all veterans, not just deceased veterans, but all veterans. Today I'll be going down to Kenosha and doing a flag presentation at one of the schools there. But other than that, there's all kinds of programs going around.
So what's on tap for tomorrow? Where are you going to be tomorrow on Saturday, Veterans Day?
Well, let's see. My post is having a chili dinner that's free for all veterans at 4 o'clock in Union Grove. I'll be at Post 79 at the Veterans Terrace in Burlington at 10 o'clock for their program. And I don't know. I'll have to check my calendar, see what else I've got. I've got 2 more things anyway. I
was very proud of my dad. My dad was a Navy tail gunner. Right after Pearl Harbor, he entered at 17. They were taking everybody back then. And,
okay, wow.
And he entered the Navy. It was a Navy flyer, though. He wasn't on a ship. He was a tail gunner in a plane. And he did that for 4 years straight with basically no stopping. He was shot down 3 times. And each time, he said the old man, the pilot who was 26 years old, to my father, he was the old man, got the plane back and working again, and they kept taking off from these small little islands. He has photographs of them strafing a Japanese ship. They actually have pictures of it they took, and he actually saved the pictures. The superstructure that they attacked blew up upwards, and one of the ropes from the deck of the ship actually blew up across their wing, just missing the propeller, and it's sitting there in the picture on the wing. And they took a picture and they said, just keep that rope from hitting the propeller. My dad wound up receiving 2 Distinguished Flying Cross medals, one when he was 18 years old. But he received 2 Distinguished Flying Cross medals and 3 commendations from Forrestal, who was the Secretary of the Navy at the time. On the wall in my house, I have those 3 commendations sealed, laminated. I have his medals, and I have his dress Navy uniform from World War II and something else. On the back of his bomber jacket, you had to wear 2 flags. You had to wear the Japanese flag, and you had to wear the American flag in case you were shot down. And the Japanese flag had writing from all the different dialects. And it said, right, this is a U.S. flyer, Navy flyer, and a reward will be paid for his return. At least my father said that's what they told him it was. he said it could have been. Okay. But I have those flags with the pinholes when it was sewn into his jacket, and they're framed. I have the Japanese flag you had to wear and the American flag. A lot of people don't realize you had to wear the enemy flag if you get shot down. I mean, otherwise, you could be killed. So how many people do you have as a member of the American Legion Post in 171?
How many members?
Yeah, you have a lot of people.
Right now, we have 142.
Do you get young veterans joining the American Legion Post?
We're having a hard time getting the younger ones to join. I'm also a senior vice and charter member of my VFW over in Rochester, and we are getting a few more younger veterans in, but the Legion is having a lot of problem getting them in. I don't know if we just don't have the right stuff to offer them or what.
Well,
but they're welcome.
Yeah, all veterans are welcome. Doesn't matter which branch you're in. There's one more thing.
No.
And I want to... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, my dad, one more thing I want to say about him real briefly, is that his picture is at the U.S. Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C. We were there for the presentation. They're all his flight crew is on one of the islands. They all have their shirts off. They're wearing, shorts and everything. But they took a group shot. And my father is I think he's 18 years old in the picture. So he went there when he was in his late 80s. And we went to the U.S. Navy Memorial, who was started, and people don't know this, it was started by Bernard Schwartz. You know him as Tony Curtis, the actor. Him and Ed Asner started the U.S. Navy Memorial in Washington. Where all the...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's a plaque on the wall for Bernard Schwartz, in parentheses, Tony Curtis. Who knew?
Okay.
Yeah, who knew? Frank, I want to wish you a very happy Veterans Day tomorrow. It's a day to celebrate the people who served our country and put their lives on the line. Luckily, a lot of them didn't need to give up their lives. Some did. But there are people that came back, and we should celebrate them because not everybody gets into the service. And we want to thank them for defending our Constitution, defending our country against all enemies around the world. And you're one of the people that keeps it alive every year, and especially the Memorial Day ones at Union Grove. We do appreciate all the work that the veterans put in for that.
I thank you for that. There's only 6.5% of the American public that joins the service.
Yeah. One of my good friends, a radio friend of mine, is actually in the Air Force. This is his 8th year, his second term of duty in the Air Force. And he got married, and he's coming home. He's stationed in Italy right now. So I would never have thought that he would be in the Air Force someday. But he is, and they made a man out of him.
Well, that's good.
Hey, Frank, happy Veterans Day.
Yeah, thank you very much. You have a good day, too.
You too, Frank. Frank Konieska from the commander of the 171 Post in Union Grove. Okay, quickly, I got another 4-pack of tickets here waiting for you. The Tommy James and the Shondells. If you want it, give us a call if you haven't won anything in the past 60 days. The phone number to call is 262-634-WRJN, 262-634-9756. 634-WRJN, area code 262 will give you those tickets for Tommy James and the Shondells at the Genesee Theater.